Hi, everyone. I'm Sarita Patel.
And I'm Latham Woodward, Sarita's co-host.
Welcome to Sarita in the Stream.
This show is about interesting guests, interesting topics every week, maybe more. You never know. We harken back to the days of radio where interesting subjects came up every single day. You never knew what you were going to encounter. Sarita's career has spanned every industry all over the world. It has been a life path that has brought her to all corners and all people. My experiences in podcasting, manufacturing, and construction, oddly enough, and I did a long stint in the cannabis business. So enjoy today's show. I think you're going to find it entertaining. Like I say in every episode, hop into the stream with Sarita, and you're going to get wet, but come out refreshed. Welcome back to Sarita in the Stream. This week's episode, The Narcissist Next Door. Welcome, Sarita.
Hey, Latham. How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back in studio with you. All new mics and all new stuff here. So it's all exciting. So tell us about this week's title.
Well, so I thought about The Narcissist Next Door because a bunch of people called me after listening to that Gilligan's Island episode that we did.
Yeah.
And, partly because they never really thought about Gilligan's Island at a character level.
Right.
But one of my friends who was a personal assistant around 30 years ago in Silicon Valley, she called me to talk about Gilligan's Island. And she asked me if I remembered how often she would call me for advice on how to deal with her bosses. Mm-hmm. And it made me remember that this whole word narcissism, now I hear it every day. I can't open up an Instagram post that doesn't talk about it.
everything.
There's at least 100 people talking about narcissistic abuse and, all of the things that you have to do to sort of brace up.
And it makes you look at people around you too. Like, wait a minute, that guy's a narcissist kind of thing. I don't know. Is that conditioned reality? You know what I mean?
Well, that's what we're here to talk about because,
exactly.
I look at it like, yes, I think it's very, very important that people know the severity of this, what do you want to call it? It's a diagnosis. It's a condition. And there are various levels of it, right?
Yeah.
And you have to have a healthy amount of narcissism to even function as an independent human being.
Right. Well, you want to be able to stand out. You want to defend yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes that might be misinterpreted as narcissism, perhaps by some people.
Mm-hmm.
But some people, it's just like their self-defense mechanism, right?
Yeah.
Could be.
And I think the more and more we talk out loud to each other and to our friends, going past whatever your definition of a word is incredibly important. Like, we just can't have these short, I agree or I disagree, and now we're going to walk away because we agree to disagree.
Right. The thing with the narcissist YouTube videos, at least that I've been seeing,
mm-hmm.
is that they're really cautionary tales, meaning watch out for this person
mm-hmm.
in your life. This person is polluting your stream, or this person is making your life difficult, but it's because they're catering to themselves.
Right. So that goes back to, we see a lot of shows with a lot of theoretical descriptions, but the reality is, like I when my girlfriend called me and said, you used to help me all the time, I do realize why I helped her. And it was because I was in a lot of those situations and I didn't even really know it
mm-hmm.
until, you get your knees skidded a few too many times and you look down and, you're like, well, I had something to do with that.
Right. What do you think? I mean, what's your take on it? Is narcissism a real thing?
Yeah, I think it is a real thing.
And is it an everyday occurrence to you? Do you see it every day?
I see it every day.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it is based on a lot of how our society is built. Like right now, we live in a system that is set up and promotes excessive narcissism.
Right.
And I think that the people who succeed have a level and lack of empathy and sympathy to the point where they don't even think about it. They're not sitting there saying, oh, I don't have empathy or I don't need empathy to get ahead. They just don't have it.
They don't have it.
So it's like when you open up your refrigerator, you're not going to look at it and wish for a banana to show up in the fridge. It's like either you got it or you don't.
Right. To throw a little bit of humor in here in this conversation too, you sent me a picture of a home that's being built very close to us here. That at best I called it a wealth prison because that's what it looks like. It looks like giant concrete walls around this property that used to be kind of attractive in a very low-key way. Obviously, it was a very big property, but now it's just a Dwell magazine nightmare. No offense to Dwell magazine, but I mean, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, so that's on College Avenue and Woodland Avenue.
Yeah.
And so part of the Nextdoor, is also to riff a little bit on Nextdoor. Because
you mean the website?
The platform Nextdoor, where everybody complains about everything.
Yes, they do.
And nothing gets done, right?
No,
It's just like, hey, how could this happen? How could this happen?
Bitch session central.
It is.
Yes, it is.
And then, but the thing about Nextdoor is people complain about things when they notice it.
Yes.
Right? That house that's being built on College and Woodland has been in construction for a long, long time.
Like 4 years.
Yep.
Maybe more.
The permits, the design of it, the getting it approved. And so now that it's going up, people are complaining. Well, nobody's going to shut that project down now.
Oh, no. That wealth prison is built.
It's built.
That wealth prison is ready for inmates.
And people are driving by it every day because that's a pretty popular thoroughfare.
Totally
And
popular.
they're going to get used to it. They're going to get used to looking at a concrete prison
bunker
across from Woodlands Market.
Yeah.
Across from College of Marin.
Yeah.
That's what a normal house looks like.
Yeah. Now this reminds me. Remember, sometimes I was telling you about how living in this county. Now I don't know if you guys who are listening, you live in different counties. Maybe there's swishy nice counties. There's shitty counties. There's different things, right? We happen to live in one of these places that I would call aspirational for a lot of people. Not for me. Lived here. I'm a fifth generation resident of Marin County. But today it's considered an aspirational business executive destination for them and their families when they get transferred, right? And you asked me one time, well, how do you deal with these assholes around here? And I said, I just ignore them. Mm-hmm. And with narcissists, I think that's what you have to do. You just have to ignore them.
Well,
they'll make you miserable.
Yeah, they will. And you do have to ignore them. But what I'm talking about is like what happens if you're working with them, if you end up in a relationship with them, if one of your best friends you find out has, tendencies. So you can get into a relationship with somebody and then find out that they've got extreme levels of narcissism.
Right.
And then unwinding yourself from that it can be really challenging.
Totally challenging.
Right? So like even that one episode that we had when we were talking about the liars, the cheaters, and the stealers.
Liars, cheats, thieves, and everything in between.
And that film director.
Yes.
And so today's the 2-year anniversary of when that film premiered.
Oh, did you get flowers?
I got shit.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
In a bouquet?
I actually got an email saying that all of the statements I made about the relationship were not accurate.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a narcissist saying something to you about you and your feelings and like overriding your feelings and your actual experiences. That's a narcissist.
Well, he's rewriting history.
Yes.
The first thing that you do is, prove that person is either crazy or just completely incorrect.
Or can't remember anything.
Can't remember anything.
Yeah, no, they remembered that incorrectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that happened to me not too long ago.
No.
Right?
2 years ago.
And so someone would think, God, Sarita, you've been around a lot of narcissistic people. Didn't you learn anything? And you know what I say? They're all different.
Yeah, there's no one color or stripe for a narcissist, is there?
There's not. And when you have a big heart like me, I have a big heart. I don't take the shirt off my back now in the winter and give it to somebody, but I still firmly believe that if we don't, if everyone's going to cover their heart so much that they are afraid to have a relationship, because right now, as we said, the narcissism thing is so all over everywhere. One would actually be kind of afraid of walking outside because they seem to be everywhere. I mean, they are definitely running the corporations. They're
Yeah.
in positions of power. So if you want to have a job or if you want to belong to a group, whether that be a private school or a public school, chances are the people running those things
Or a club.
or a club.
You've had experience there, or a board of directors. You've had experience there. I've had experience there too.
Yep.
Where you're on a board and you're thinking, I'm going to make changes. It's going to be great. And, we're all going to work cooperatively together and we're going to execute some really good things. Bullshit. It's bullshit.
It is. And see, you're better at it than me. You can just call bullshit for bullshit. Somebody like me is like, oh, they value my contribution. That's why I'm being invited onto this. And I like the organization. And then I will give everything I have to that because it's usually promoting causes that I appreciate.
Yeah.
But then when you start uncovering things that they don't want uncovered, that's when you see them unable to control the mask.
Yeah.
And they take you down.
They do. I'll relate a story here that's not about it's kind of about narcissism. I was on a board at a club, let's say, a fraternal organization. And one day, one of the older fellows comes up to me and goes, yeah, I see your name doesn't end with a vowel. You're never going anywhere in this club, kid. Because it was primarily Italian Americans, right? And I was like, great. Well, at least he let me know now.
At least yeah, that's a favor.
It is a favor because then I realized, well, all my efforts are going to go to shit, so I'm not going to do anything.
Right.
I'm just going to go back and drink the free beer.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so coast along.
Right. So the thing about this is they are everywhere. And, their job is to be appealing enough to get people to give them what they need.
Yeah.
Most narcissists have very little creativity.
They sponge. They're sponges.
They sponge.
They're sponges.
Right. So if you know that, once you kind of heal through these different episodes, and I've had a lot, I could probably write, 20 chapters on the different people. But again, each time it gets a little bit better. I learn a little bit more about myself, which is a hard lesson. But, who knows? Maybe if you believe in reincarnation, maybe I was one of those assholes in a past life, and I get to traverse this thing and feel what it feels to be taken advantage of.
Or you could be born as a rock the next time, the rock that's picked up by some guy with a sling that hits a giant in the head and kills him.
Totally.
Boom. That's your big revenge right there, right?
There it is.
There you go. You never know, right? Well, the narcissism thing is so real, and a guest that we're going to be having on here in the future, very near future, is a well-known investigative reporter about Wall Street and CEOs in the CEO class, and he was telling me earlier during a pre-interview about the tendency to sociopathy within the C-suite. So we're looking forward to that interview coming up. I don't know how much humor is going to be in that one, because it's very much prevalent in American corporate structure. I don't think it's just American corporate structure, though. I think it's all over.
Well, it's all over, and it's just like you were saying, when we talk about Marin County, there are counties like this all over the United States.
New York Beach, New York, what is it? What's the big county outside of in Connecticut, and New York City, and all these little pockets of tilted to wealthier people, whether it's Santa Clara County or LA County or Orange County, for God's sake, all of these places in California that are just these little pockets of just real narcissism, real intense me. I mean, there's a joke, you've heard the joke about what do we call Mill Valley? It's called Me Valley. Yeah, because it's all about you.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And that's a real thing around here.
Yeah, it is a real thing. And so, again, but there's a lot of really good people here. And I'm not saying
Tremendous
that
amount of
narcissists
good
are
people.
bad people. It's a trait, okay? It is a trait. And the reason I bring this up is you and I have had lots of conversations with old timers of Marin.
Yes.
And as the old timers leave because it's unaffordable or they're just kind of done with it and they want to have some peace in their life, there's always this recycling of people. And so the younger generation have no idea what the older Marin was like. And
I constantly remind people about it.
yeah. Well, and I think
come from a different time here. I mean, it's strange. I feel like that old timer in times like I was different in my day. We had popsicles and soda pop with a top on them, and you flicked it off with a little device. You know, it was like we had horses and buggies here. This is not bullshit. When I was a kid, it was quite common to have people horseback ride through our town. And there was one woman who had a little Surrey thing going around. I mean, that was a little weird, but I mean, she had it.
wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy. Are we going to have a guest today, Sarita? Anybody responded yet?
Well, so there's two people coming on in the next week.
Okay.
One is my friend Tracy Reiner, who is out in Taos, New Mexico. She's living on a farm with chickens and goats and
Off the
kids
grid?
and off the grid. And
Wow.
she is a badass mother.
Okay.
And she spent quite a bit of time in Los Angeles. Her parents were in the industry.
Okay.
And she's just such a lovely person. But she's got to take on kind of the narcissistic, what's happened in Hollywood and how it actually runs from a vantage point of having parents who always made her work. And that wasn't a punishment. That was like the best gift she could have ever had.
I gave her good ethic.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a great gift.
It is.
And it's one of those things that here's something. We need to talk about this.
Okay.
So you came to me the other day about someone who shall remain unnamed, who was, their son was not accomplishing the goals that he had set out for him and that they had laid out for him. And they basically were letting him twist in the wind at this occupation that was basically, service industry, right? But he came from a good background and he didn't have to do that, but he's doing it. And how it's like this family's not standing up for their own. It's like, it's weird.
Well, and that's where, a wrinkle in time, right? So with this mom, I was saying, just sit back. Like, you have to understand that these kids don't live in the same world that we did.
Yeah.
And if we don't erase that narrative and we put it upon them, these kids will suffer as adults. You're already seeing it. And,
yes.
the mom, she said, I haven't been doing a good job. And she almost didn't know what to say because it was a moment where she said, I've just been going along and I didn't even realize I was going along. And the person that I least would ever want to hurt, I'm hurting.
Right. Maybe for some of what she thought were good reasons.
She did.
Yeah. And that often that's a tough reality, It's a very tough reality to face, that you are up against, your best intentions are not working.
They're not working. And this last summer, I had a bunch of kids work with me over the summer because I knew the parents needed a break. And that's when you really see that this is a condition that is not unique to specific families. It's now, I worked for a very wealthy family for a long time. And you've heard me say the story where I said, I'm going to put the kids first. The business is next. And because I didn't want the kids to grow up and go, I don't even remember my childhood. We remember all the business that was happening here, but we don't remember anyone greeting us at the door, letting us sit in their lap, coloring with us, sharing, their fears. I mean, it was like that those opportunities can be lost just by the hustle of day-to-day life.
Yeah, there is a corollary to that, what you went through. Let's just say a relative of mine, very close relative of mine, grew up in an environment where they were all sent off to boarding school at 7 years old, all of them.
Wow.
And while this person was at boarding school, his brother, who was 5 years older, died at boarding school without enough time for the parents to get there. So he was there alone with his brother when he died. So, and this was quite common in this group, to send your kids off to boarding school. It's kind of that old English thing, right? And it's, I can't, to this day, this is a very close relative of mine, understand or try to comprehend what was going through his head his whole life about familiar relationships and things like that. So mistakes, parents, if you're listening, they happen in every generation.
They happen in every generation.
And I don't want to get too morose about it yet.
Well, no, but it's a good thing to talk about. That's why we have the studio downstairs, so we can have small gatherings that are, private but free versus, going into a big hall or something, because I think some of this is so deeply personal.
Yes.
And we've talked about, I've been to loads and loads of therapy, and not all the therapy was actually good for me. A lot of it kept me in a condition.
Yes. Well, that's on purpose. Let's, before we get too far away from our lounge, this is time for a little live read. So if you're a nonprofit organization and you're looking to do a salon, a talk, a book group, perhaps a reading or a gathering, contact us here at Madmana Studios at Latham at madmanastudios.com, which is Latham at Madmana, MADMANA studios.com to set up your date with us. And if you are a legitimate nonprofit, you will get the space for free. It's very nicely done. We do reserve the right to film or record, so just keep that in mind. That's the only payment we ask because we want to advertise the space. Anything you want to add about the lounge? It's beautiful. It's done.
It is beautiful, and it's not beige and gray. So if you don't...
It is certainly not.
It's not. But, my other friend from ILM called me 2 days ago. She just sent me all these random... She's really into photography right now. She sent me all these pictures, and she asked me if I thought they were good. And I said, well, I like them, but, what do you think? And she goes, well, I like them, and I think I want to do an art show.
Oh.
And I said, well, come over, see the place, because that's what we want to do. We want to encourage artists who, might not have the confidence to go into a gallery or even the sophistication needs that you now need to deal with an art gallery.
Right.
But it's also a way to talk about it in a non-threatening, very informal way, just with friends. And I think we need to start talking again in smaller groups.
Yeah, and I like the salon format, that kind of thing. Currently, we have the Ross Pelton show at the Lounge. Ross Pelton is a very well-known rock and roll photographer from the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. So if you care to come by and just look at the show without anybody, you're welcome to. Just contact me and we'll get you in to show it to you.
Yeah, so...
Well, anything more on narcissism? It's not a very happy subject at all.
Well, no, but we have... It's kind of... If you know what is coming down the pipeline, you're going to be better armed.
Yes.
And I think, we're going to have Brevin Warren on next week, and she is working on a research project with UCLA right now, and it's called Head, Heart, and Hustle, Exploring the Value of Independent Filmmakers. And the reason I'm bringing that up with the narcissism is, she is finding that in the independent film arena, where these are small budget films, not huge ones, it's the same behavior. So even when I speak of narcissisms, people who are investors, who are wanting to invest in projects, they might not be narcissistic, but they might be dealing with a narcissistic director or creative person. So, everybody needs to know about this, because it's only going to be happening, it's going to be affecting more of us in the near short term. So, we got to talk about it.
Right. And one thing you brought up earlier, to just bounce back a little bit, was there are narcissists that I know who are very nice. I just thought about a couple, actually. But they run their life very much about them and what they're going to get. and it's usually in a business sense, but and it's sometimes in a social sense too, where they do really nice things for people, but it's all about the jollies they get back.
Yeah.
And so it's a form of narcissism that is not abusive. It's very much would it be congratulatory? It's just self-fulfillment, you know?
Yeah.
But in terms of socially, they do a lot of great things.
Yeah, and that's why we're talking about this, because it's not all bad. It can be. Now, the thing about speaking truth to power is where this comes into play. If say you're on the spectrum,
yes,
I consider that the same kind of discussion about narcissism, because somebody who's on the spectrum might not have the social graces to carry on a sort of normal conversation. But that doesn't mean that what they have to say is not worthy of being listened to. And so, if a narcissist has a great partner or a great team that helps them so that doesn't have to be amplified, then great, because there are things that narcissists can do that people like me cannot do. I'm not like a bull. I'm not going to go push that rock up that boulder.
No. Or up that hill. Or you can push a rock up a boulder.
Did I? Oh, I said boulder, didn't I?
You could push it uphill too.
I say all these things wrong because, everyone knows that my mom didn't speak English when she came here. So I sing most of the nursery rhymes incorrectly. And then I say things like push the boulder up the boulder.
Or push the rock up the boulder.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's fine.
Sorry.
No, it's interesting. But next, I think in terms of our living here, and if you live in a county or you live in a town that, you see people like this, I would give you my sage advice too. Just ignore those people. Just ignore them. If they're making you miserable, the best thing you can do, and the way to make these people craziest, is to ignore them.
I agree.
It makes them crazy.
Yep.
It does, because their impact is not doing what they intended.
Right. You're not feeding the machine.
You're not feeding the machine, and that's important.
Yep.
So, stand alone, stand your ground, push that rock up the boulder, and just do your thing, right?
Do your thing.
Well, on that note, I think we're going to close it out today, but it was an interesting subject because it is so much in the news and it is all over YouTube and podcasts, and we're just another podcast talking about narcissism, aren't we?
That's it.
That's it. Well, until next week, this is Sarita in the Stream, and I'm Latham Woodward, and this is Sarita, as always.
Thanks, Latham. See you next time.
See you next time.
Hey everyone, I just want to say thank you so much for listening and tuning in to Sarita in the Stream.
Sarita in the Stream is brought to you by Mad Mana Studios. Mad Mana Studios is located in San Anselmo, California. You can reach us at Latham at madmanastudios.com. That's LATHAM at madmanastudios.com. That's MADMANA studios.com. All rights reserved 2025. Our intro and outro music is provided to us by the Tasmanian Devils from their album Tas Nouveau, circa 2005. Look for them on popular music services.